Good morning, Hampton, fourth grade. Mr. Harris again with another lesson. Today we're going to be covering characterization through reading. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, is preview our text before we jump in to find out our genre and understand more about the text that we're going to read. The title of our text for today is On the Run. Okay. So as I'm looking through this text, I'm scanning. I see a date, March 15, 1836. And I see Aunt Greta. I see General Sam Houston. And I'm seeing a bunch of other things that look like they might be realistic. But I don't see anyone directly in our story that gives me an idea that this is a nonfiction text. So this kind of text can be actually really tricky. This is what you call a realistic fiction. For realistic fiction, as I've mentioned to you guys before, we're going to use the same thinking jobs as fiction. So right here at the top, I'm going to jot my genre being realistic fiction. Let's grab a different color for today because I'm feeling a different kind of way. Genre fiction. And like I said, we're going to categorize it as fiction because we jump into realistic fiction. It's way too cloudy. We might forget our thinking jobs. And remember, our biggest focus is our thinking jobs at all times. So our genre is fiction. I don't know why that text is disappearing. Genre fiction. Let's move you over here. And it's important that we write down our thinking jobs for fiction as well, just so that we remember them as we're reading through the text. So we have our characters, our problems, our solution, and our lesson learned. And remember, we're focused on characterization today, so the thing that we're going to constantly be referring to is our characters. Because there's some character that's going to undergo some kind of change as we read through this story, because it's a fiction story. Fiction stories imply that there's a plot, and we know that characters in a story with plot aren't going to stay the same as we read through the entire story. They're going to go through some kind of change, some kind of significant change, so that by the end of the story, they've come to a new lesson learned. All right, so let's start reading once I place this. We'll just leave that there. Dearest Aunt Greta, Mama asked me to write this letter to you. Little sister Hannah isn't old enough for school, and Mama's busy caring for our new little brother Werner. He was born while Father was away joining General Sam Houston's army. All right, so we have a whole bunch of things going on already. Firstly, she's writing this letter to Aunt Greta, but she's also informing her that there's been a lot of change in the family. We haven't gotten the name of our main character yet, but we're going to put C's over each of our new characters that we've been introduced to. So we have Aunt Greta, we have Mama, we have little sister Hannah, we have Werner, and we have Father. And we can stop and jot here that the family is going through a lot of change. Awesome. Let's keep reading. We're following the Texan army now. Lots of families are running away, just like us. Everyone says that Generalissimo Santa Anna beat our soldiers at the Alamo. They say Colonel Travis and James Bowie just couldn't hold off that many Mexican soldiers. Most of the men, like our father, have joined General Houston's Texan army. So we can write that Texas is currently losing to the Mexican army. And we have some other characters, Generalissimo Santa Anna, Colonel Travis, and James Bowie. We left our farm just yesterday. It was a pretty little place. Father built a snug little cabin from trees that he cut down by the creek. It looks like our old cottage in Germany. We had planted some apple and some cherry trees too. The garden gave us enough potatoes, peppers, and onions to fill up our cellar last fall. Our little herd of cows has grown every year. We have over 20 cows now, and many of them are almost ready to calve. Father says Santa Ana is taking food from all the farms as his Mexican army chases us. He's feeding his army with our very own produce and livestock. There's smoke coming from most of the little towns we pass. Mama says that General Houston is burning anything that the Mexican army might be able to use. It seems that we'll lose all that we have worked so hard to build here in Texas. So the family has had to move because of the war. There was a lot of brave talk at first. Everybody was ready to take on the whole Mexican army. Come and take it, they hollered to Santa Ana back then. The settlers all got together and ran the Mexican army clear out of Texas. They started calling themselves Texians. I guess some of the Mexicans who own land around here also joined the fight. Everyone felt pretty sure we could have our own republic. We even have a government with a president and everything. Texians thought they would win at first. Of course, that's all changed now. President Boumet and his government are on the run, we hear. After we lost the Battle of the Alamo, General Houston decided to gather up all the families out here. We're running like a pack of scalded cats, trying to stay ahead of General Santa Anna's Mexican army. The people here tell the worst stories about Santa Anna. They say he has his burglars play a sort of song before a battle called a Deguelo. Sorry, it sounds like Deguello, and it means that the Mexican soldiers can't let any Texan prisoners live. They have to kill everyone, even the families of the Texians. We couldn't let that happen to little Werner and Hannah, so we're running. So we see here that our main character is scared of the myths and stories that they tell about Santa Ana. And we say myths and stories because when we look back here, it says the people here tell the worst stories about Santa Ana. So, indeed, some of these things might not be true. It's just stories that President Blume and others like General Houston told to get people riled up about the war. It has only been a couple of days, but Aunt Greta, this runaway scrape is awful. Some people are sick. It's been raining nearly this whole time, and Hannah has a real bad cough. Mama won't put little Werner down for even a minute. We have two horses pulling an old wagon with as many blankets and as much food as we can carry. The ground is muddy and chewed up by all the wagon wheels and livestock. Some wagons have gotten stuck, and people have to just leave them there in the mud. People have had, and here we can stop and drop. People have had to abandon their homes and livestock. We don't know anybody out here on the road with us. Some people are stealing from each other. Even worse, there are bandits that will kill anyone that falls too far behind the main group. We can't ever forget the Indians. Some people are afraid the Indians will join up with the Mexicans against us. To make matters worse, all the rain this spring has the rivers swollen up. We're not sure we can cross the Colorado River when we get to it. Here we can write that everyone is scared and fending for themselves. Mama asked me to write all of this for you. I think she's worried we won't see you again. I'm not sure how long it takes mail to get all the way from Texas to Germany. I hope by the time we get this letter, we're all safe and dry somewhere. I hope Father comes back to us, and I hope General Santa Anna decides to leave us all alone. We miss you and Uncle Gerhard every day. Your nephew, Bert Holmeyer, somewhere east of Gonzales, Texas. So here we get the name of our main character who's been telling us this story, Bert Holmeyer. So as we read this story, we learned a lot, okay? We learned about the war that was going on in 1836. We learned about how people had to leave their homes. We learned about what horror stories and myths people told about General Santa Anna. And we've learned about how people feared and how people were fearful and fending for themselves. So as we read through this, as we read through the questions now, we have questions, and then we're going to read through them, we're going to answer them. Remember, we're focused on our characterization, how we've talked about our character, and what we've learned as the story progressed, okay? Question number 2 is going to be our first question. Berthold is writing this letter, F, to his father in General Sam Houston's army, G, to someone in General Santa Anna's army, H, to his Aunt Greta in the Texian army, J, to his Aunt Greta who lives in Germany. All right, so let's go back up to where we first met Aunt Greta. Up here it says dearest Aunt Greta, so we know we can eliminate if a letter says dearest or to or dear, we know that that's who the letter is being written to. So he's not writing it to his father, and he's definitely not writing it to someone in General Santa Anna's army. Is it to his Aunt Greta who's in the Texian army, or to his Aunt Greta who lives in Germany? Well, if we scroll all the way down to the end, paragraph 8, we see that he mentions that the letter has to get from Texas to Germany. So we can cross out his Aunt Greta who's in the Texian army, and correctly select answer J, his Aunt Greta who lives in Germany. Question number 3 is going to be our next and last question. When the Texian army first confronted the Mexican army, the Texians A, were afraid of General Santa Anna, B, felt brave and proud of the Texas government, C, ran away from battle, D, wanted to find a peaceful way to solve their problems with the Mexican army. So, if we scroll up to paragraph 4, we read that there was a lot of brave talk at first. Everyone was ready to take on the whole Mexican army. Come and take it, they hollered to Santa Anna back then. The settlers all got together and ran the Mexican army clear out of Texas. They started calling themselves Texians. So, let's go back to our answer choices. They were afraid of General Santa Anna. Did they sound like they were afraid? No, they kind of hooped and hollered and tried to scare them away from the land. So we can hit an X over A. Felt brave and proud of their Texas government. Let's put a question mark next to that for now. Or we could leave it blank. Because that sounds like that can be an answer. They ran away from the battle. No, they didn't run away. They ran the Mexican army away from the battle. Cross that out. They wanted to find a peaceful way to solve their problems with the Mexican army. Absolutely not. They were ready for war. So we can cross that out as well. And we know that our correct answer is answer choice B. Answer choice B is our correct answer. All right. That concludes our lesson for today. There will be an assignment for you all in Study Island based on characterization. And lastly, we have our attendance question for the day. Our attendance question for the day is, excuse me. Our attendance question for today is lost here for a second. Our attendance question for today is, name something that you are really good at. Name something that you are really good at. All right. Well, let me know what you guys think about naming something that you're really good at. Have a great day. See you guys again on Wednesday.